All right, folks, here we are. We've got episode number 6 coming up here with Andy Murphy, a trading mindset expert. We have gone through 5 already. So much goodness in here. You can get a tip on every single one, and you should be taking notes on these. In this one, we're talking about your environment, your trade setup, how your trading screens are set up, how everything's set up so that you can maximize what you're doing. If you're starting a funding challenge, if you're just been funded and looking to get that first payout, or even if you're just trying to grow a personal account, this is all going to help you. So, Andy, welcome back to the show.
I'm excited, mate. I'm excited. I feel they're going to be very helpful for people. But please start at number 1 and go through. Don't just go to random ones if you found this one, right? They're going to be very helpful because I've tried to layer things together so you can go out and just use these instantly for yourself, right? So one of the things we spoke about in previous episode was anchoring, right? It's a NLP technique, which is stimulus response. It's basically, if you look at it this way, right? I didn't explain it like this. Probably traders, you might have partied before in your life, right? So that means you might hear a piece of music and it takes you right back to that moment in 4 o'clock in the morning in a club, or it takes you back to your grandma's cooking with a smell. That's an anchor, right? It's called a stimulus response. So I spoke about in a previous episode, being able to create trigger responses or anchors connected to your peak state, right? Well, they are internal anchors, right? They're physical, but they're also internal because we're connected to a state. But what I want to share with you now is your environmental anchors, right? So what does that mean? Well, it means that the first thing I want you to do is to understand that everything outside of you, people, places, and things, are literally creating an emotional response inside of you. Don't believe me? Imagine someone walking into a room that reminds you, not even them, reminds you of somebody that you don't like, right? You're going to have an instant reaction to that, right? So why would you think that's any different with your external environment? It isn't. So there's 2 steps to this: deletion and installing. So first of all, I want you to understand that you should really, as a professional, be trading from the same environment or a very similar environment every single time. Now, let me explain why. Because you want your dopamine levels, which we spoke about in a previous episode, not to be lit up because you are like in a coffee shop trading, right? Because you're going to get so many different interruptions. You're going to get so much energy and responses. Your levels are going to be really high, and you're going to take action. Remember, dopamine's the motivation chemical, brain chemical. You're going to get so much dopamine that you're going to want to take action, and you're not going to be in that logical response, right? So what we want is to make the environment a way that it's calming. You'll feel good there. So what does that mean? Could be sounds, could be visual triggers, right? All of these things, smells and tastes, right? I want you to really set up and design your environment of where you trade, right? Some people trade in, it could be a little room. So it could be outside in the garden, right? In a shed. It could be in a bedroom. It could be in a corner of a room. What we want is the things that are in front of you to be things that motivate you, they focus, you feel good about. Tell you a quick story. Many years ago, I went to visit my family, and I'd run lots of different businesses, and years ago, some business partner let me down. Shocking, right? Business partner letting you down. There's many of those. But I was actually going back to visit my family. Guess where I stayed? Yeah, in my parents' house. Guess what that parents' house was? It's where I grew up. So instantly you walk into that environment, it's kind of very quickly you start to feel like you were when you were young, right? Your parents treat you that way. Your even old friends can treat you that way. So it starts to light up the neurology or the state of who you were in the past. Probably not a good thing. So I went, I know what I'm doing. Let's take control of this environment. So I actually went out and pulled certain things out, and I actually pulled out an old Rocky poster because I was rebuilding a business. So I had a Rocky picture there. I had some spiritual stuff there. I had some NLP stuff there, all like books and pictures and stuff. So I was sitting there working away, building a new brand, and I was like, oh, can't be bothered. Oh. And I'd look up, see Rocky. I'm like, it's not the Rocky movie that associated in my brain to Rocky. It's actually Sylvester Stallone's story of how he got that live. That's the most impressive thing. So suddenly I'm like, if he can do that, I can do that. Again, environmental anchoring triggers my peak state, which makes me think, feel, and act a certain way. So you get the idea. With your trading environment, I want the same thing, right? Whether you can literally, I've taught this to people, there are like videos on YouTube that you might have a couple of screens. Being a trader, you've probably got a couple of screens. Maybe get an extra one. And on that screen, you've got like environments. You've got all these YouTube videos, right, that play different scenes. It could be ocean waves. It could be the beach. There's also ones of, this is a classic one, Bobby Axelrod from Billions trading, right?
Oh,
so you've got this sitting over there, and you've got Bobby Axelrod trading, right? And you're sitting there. What do you think that's going to do to you? Now, don't be a psycho like Bobby Axelrod, but it means that there's certain characteristics that you probably want to adapt to or adopt. And that is the laser focus, the confidence, the aggression sometimes, right? But also you might want family pictures. Why family pictures? Isn't that going to make me emotional, Andy? Maybe. The other way you could look at it is that that's your emotional driver behind making the correct decision to be able to trade or not, right? So if we start setting up our environment, we start layering in our state, we've developed anchoring, we've done understanding the prefrontal cortex decision-making, then suddenly this environment starts to become a place that we feel settled, calm, motivated, powerful inside of this environment. Does that make sense, Cam?
Oh yeah, for sure. And look, I mean, I'm just kind of looking around at my environment and going, I've let this get out of control here. And with that out of control, there's obviously probably going to be subliminal out of controlness. So I'm jumping off this call and I'm going to fix my environment straight away and probably think about what else can I put up here. But look, that's awesome stuff. An action for everyone. Please go and do that now. If you've got a trading place that you go and trade every day, make sure you set that up for success. We've got some more of these coming up, folks. This is absolutely epic series. If you haven't watched the first few, go and check them out. All linked under the video. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. Andy, is there a place for people to find out more about you and what you do with traders?
Sure, nice and simple. You can head over to andymurphy.online. Head over there. You can chat with me. You can contact me, whatever. Or you can just head over to thegeniustrader.club and take a little look at that too.
Brilliant, folks. What we'll do is hook those links up under the show here, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, then go and check that out in the podcast description. All right, folks, we'll see you in the next one.